Hi, my name is Andrew Arnott, and in this demo you will see how easy it is to create a new project type in Visual Studio 2015 using the Project System Extensibility SDK. I'm going to start out in the GitHub project where we keep our documentation for this SDK, and I'm going to scroll down to Prerequisites, recommend the introduction, that's a good read as well. But for this demo, we're going to skip to prerequisites, and I've already installed 2015 RC and the SDK. So all I have left to install is the Extensibility v6 itself, which I've already downloaded on the desktop, so I'll install it from there. This just takes a few seconds. And we're done. I'm going to launch Visual Studio 2015 RC. And let's suppose that I wanted to introduce Visual Studio IDE support for the Boo.NET language, which is a language that the community has come up with. And so I'm going to just click New Project. Creating a new project type is as easy as a new project of any other kind. Under C#, now that I've installed the v6, I have an extensibility subcategory with a project type template. I'm going to call it Boo. Now here I get to pick the display name of how it appears inside Visual Studio and what the project file extension is that your customers will use. So I'm going to change that to be Boo Proj. Click Finish. Now what it's doing here is we're creating a solution for you with two projects in it. One is obviously the definition of your project type. It's going to be a project with any extensions that you may want to write to tailor the experience and make it just right for your customers. That's going to be a collection of MEF extensions similar to any editor extensions you may have written in the past. There's also a project template project in the solution where you get to decide what your customers will see when they first create instances of your Boo Proj. So here's the project template that I was telling you about. Here's the Boo Proj. You can customize what that looks like when your users first create your projects. And you can see here it actually resembles a C# project that you might recognize, and you can feel free to change that C# to be a Boo language source file. We just wanted to get you started with something that works and that was familiar. Over here in the project type, we have several files. They're all small, and actually they do virtually nothing, but they provide a framework for you to begin writing extensions that we think you'll find useful. The one bit of significant C# code here is that on my unconfigured project, we have a few attributes that actually cause registry settings to be created that will tell Visual Studio that your project type exists. Other than that, or as a total, there's about 130 lines of C# code that you've started out with as an owner of a brand new project type with no custom extensions other than just this framework that we've given you, which is a significant difference from MPF Proj, which is what you may have used in the past that starts you out with 40,000 lines of code. 100 lines is a steep drop from that. It reduces your total cost of ownership. So I've just hit Control F5 and I've launched the experimental instance of Visual Studio. And now I'm sitting in your customer's chair. You get to try this out. So the next new project I'm going to create is an instance of a Boo Proj. And you'll see that it's already in the new project dialog with the template. Now it's not a C# project, it's a Boo project. So I'm going to collapse this and go down to Boo. And there's the new Boo project that your customers will see, and they can create it. And you'll see it resembles the project template that we saw in our solution a few moments ago. And again, it's going to resemble C# because we haven't tailored that yet. And there it is. There's your Boo project, complete with a Boo Proj file extension and full Visual Studio support. I can even build it. And you can see we've got a multi-proc build support going on there. And so with writing 0 lines of code and just a couple minutes, we've created our first project type in Visual Studio and can begin tailoring it. Now, that's great. Let's actually start tailoring it and see what we can do. Let's say you wanted to take Boo.NET not only to Visual Studio, but you wanted your customers to be able to install a Boo.NET compilation onto Windows Phone. You would definitely need a deploy step for that, but we can see that your project doesn't have the option of a deploy step. So let's go create that. Let's close the experimental hive. And let's create our first extension. Let's go to the project type and add a new item. And here under C# Extensibility again, we'll expand that and go to Project System. And we're going to create a Project Deploy extension for our project type. And once again, we actually have no code to write. This won't send it to Windows Phone, but this is all you need to have deploy support in Visual Studio. We're going to go ahead and let people know that we're here by writing to the output window. We'll say, now deploying to Windows Phone. And we'll actually leave out the interesting code because that'll be whatever is custom for your kind of project. But we're going to go with that and just hit Control F5 and launch the experimental instance of Visual Studio again and see if in fact we do have deploy support. Okay, I'm going to open up the same Boo1 proj. And since this is an existing project, deploy, although it's enabled, is not activated by default. If I created a brand new project, it would be activated as well. But you can see now that the deploy checkbox is available to me to check. And I can then go and deploy my solution. And you'll see in the output window, now deploying to Windows Phone. And it's that easy. If we look back at that extension, that was a couple of lines of code and just the class definition. So we hope that you enjoy using the Project System Extensibility SDK, and will send us lots of feedback so that we can refine it and get it right and keep getting it better for you through VS updates and the next major version of Visual Studio. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.